Welcome to the FTGU Roundtable, where real professionals in the industry speak about their day-to-day operations, their challenges, their successes, and where they want to be. I am Tyler Walburn. I'm one of the hosts of FTGU Roundtable. As well, my main passion in this world is helping professionals actually build onto their business and find true happiness and purpose in their life. And I find doing these types of discussions is one way that we can at least have people peer in to our world, and hopefully we leave that in the impactful impressions. Okay. To the left of me, we have Tilly, Christiane. Tilly, why don't you say a little bit about yourself?
Where do we start? Where do we even start with that? You're like, well, I was born in a hospital.
Question.
Yeah. How far do we go back?
Why don't we start with whatever's in the signature of your email address?
Ooh, okay.
That's so good.
That's a good one. Honestly, I haven't actually updated my signature email since starting here at FTGU. But basically, my role here, I've worn multiple hats, which I love. But right now, my role is the Dean of the Academy. If you ever had the opportunity to come into the office, I'm that very loud lady.
She holds everyone accountable, and that includes myself. I think daily I get Tilly saying, Tyler, we got to make sure we do this. And I always have such a good time when we brainstorm ideas.
Oh,
off
100%.
of each other. It's so good.
Yeah. You know what I should add to my signature? Proctologist. If you don't know what a proctologist is, Google it.
You should know.
Yeah, you should.
And then to the right of me, I have Christiane. And Christiane works with REC Canada, which is our real estate organization. And she is such an important piece of our sales and marketing piece and our part of our operations there. Christiane, thank you for joining us.
Well, sorry. My name is Christiane. I work with REC. My role is technically like the CSR, so I like to say the client service or client relation. Wait, what is CS?
Customer or client service representative?
Yes.
There's a lot of titles, a lot of different interchangeable
ways
titles for that. But essentially, what do you do on your day-to-day operations?
Well, I call people all day, and I help clients get a hold of our agents. I like to obviously help with appointments, kind of like the back end, as well as like connecting with clients and sort of helping them book appointments, essentially.
You're the first touch.
Yeah. You're the first point of contact.
You're the first point of contact, which I believe is, it's such an important part of the organization, and to provide value to our clients and to our insiders.
That's essentially my job.
Because you're the first impression. You're the first touch point. You're the one that's going to be able to sort and try to see how we might be able to provide value to that person.
Yeah.
And it's not an easy job. And when we speak to realtors, like we do on a constant basis, the consistency in making outbound calls is probably fundamentally the thing that is lacking most in their business, even if they don't recognize it. And you're doing a great job at it.
Thanks,
and for everyone watching today, Christiane is 19 years old.
Oh, yeah.
And
PSA.
she is doing, just because we sit beside each other, and it's the role itself is near to my heart because it's what I've done for 10 years.
Yeah.
You're doing a great job, and we wanted to have you join us because you're in the mud every day doing these calls, going outbound, trying to find the work that our organization needs to keep things running. And it's a very important piece. And I think your perspective, especially from someone who predominantly does that, is going to be very good in this conversation and very fruitful. I think anyway, it's a conversation.
Yeah, I'm essentially doing what everyone should be doing, every realtor should be doing, and essentially every day. And it's hard to keep the consistency of it, but you also have to keep yourself accountable. I think it's the most important part.
And then to touch on consistency, because that is the hardest part. How do you find, how do you pump yourself up or stay consistent on doing the outbound calls throughout the day? Do you have a few things that you do to keep yourself consistent?
It's a really good question. To keep myself consistent, I would say keep yourself around a good environment. I think everybody around me is always in such a positive mood and just in a positive environment. So I think that really helps. And everyone, I feel like Tyler's always motivating me on my own, motivating me every single day. And I just think keeping yourself in a positive mindset and a positive attitude will definitely help you stay consistent, because you gotta have some type of goal. Like, that's kind of my mindset right now. So I'm trying to stay consistent. I'm trying to learn consistency, but like within my life. And like my new goal is to go to the gym. So like I'm trying to just give myself like, you know, like a positive mindset towards it, like waking up in the morning and like having a sort of goal. So that's kind of just what I look towards.
Mindset, you know what, I was actually hearing on the radio that the word of the year is like manifestation, which
So
is
true.
funny because they're like, that word in that term has been around for how many years, right?
Yeah.
And they think they were saying that like Dua Lipa, is that how you pronounce? Yeah, it's like
She talks about it?
She talks about it, and everyone's kind of laughing because it's like, okay, well, manifestation has been around way longer than Dua Lipa, but what is it? Dua Lipa, apologies. But it's just like, why now? Why this year? And so it's kind of interesting because it's like, especially when we talk with our academy members. So regardless if like, you know, they're just our virtual members, they come in the office or part of our immersion program, I always like to touch base with everybody in the sense of like, what's your goal? Like, what are you trying to achieve here? Because 9 times out of 10, what they think their problem is or what they think they need help with is, yes, a part of it is true, of course, but then there's something even more deeper rooted to
That
be
makes
like,
so much sense.
like, why are we doing what we're doing? And I think through those conversations, and I know even you have these conversations with people on the phone at the first touch, just kind of like discovery call, if you will. It's really nice to see that everyone sort of falls into buckets.
Oh,
Like,
yeah. Very.
everyone's in the same boat, really.
Yeah.
And that's the importance of doing reps, like on like the outbound call to real estate potential clients or prospective clients. You're going to, if you ask the right questions, and your value will always be determined by the questions that you ask, 100%. And once you ask these right questions, you will see fundamental buckets that, you know, either their growth, you know, where they want to be in 5 years. There's like 3 or 4 things that you usually hear. What their common challenges are, there's 3 or 4 things. And now it's determining what to do after that. And I think to go back in regards to the manifestation, and why it is the word of the year and so important to everyone's life. And I probably believe, at least from my perspective, is that this is not an easy year, right? Everything has gotten more expensive.
Yeah, it's been really hard.
It's been a very challenging year. And I find a lot of people tend to look internally to find solutions, which is what we're supposed to be doing. And I'm sure it's very present in our minds right now, especially with, you know, we're doing podcasts, but with the growth of, you know, self-help podcasts and Audible with pushing more or less like self-help types of books, that we're thinking, you know, very internally or introspective. We're introspectively thinking. And I have no idea if that's a real word, but it sounded,
I think it sounds like a real
sounded
word.
very good when I
Yeah,
said it.
I was like, I believe you.
And it's important because we do have to look internally. We will always find solutions if we first hold accountability internally, say that it is our fault that we have given that reaction to the environment, and then we can affect the outcome of it by changing
100%.
changing that reaction.
Have you guys noticed, like, between your conversations with anybody in, like, any real estate professional, anyone in the industry, or just anyone outside that you've talked to, have you noticed that there are sometimes those that are like, well, I'm not the problem, something external is my problem? You know, for
100%.
instance, like,
All the
oh,
time.
Interest
oh,
rates.
my
Yeah.
leads are garbage. It's like, okay, you know, I'm not making as much money as I did last year. You know, sort of like that woe is me. And you're like,
Yeah.
okay, well, did you look internal, right? Like, did you reflect? Did you have some sort of like moment to yourself where you're like, am I the drama? Like, am I the problem?
Am I the problem?
Am I the
That's a good
problem?
question.
Because it's like, I feel like that's half the battle.
Yeah,
And-
and holding yourself accountable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's, and again, coming back to the buckets, I think it's like accountability is the main bucket that I see everyone struggling with. Because, like, of course, everyone's like, well, once I get the lead, I know what to do. It's like, okay, well, it's like, you know, trying to get more names into your database or trying to make more deals, trying to do more. Well, obviously, you got to change something, right? Like, what's the saying of insanity, or definition of insanity? Do the same thing over and over again and expecting
different results.
Different results. It's like, okay, well, something's got to change.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've definitely experienced that where a few people are saying, it's not me, it's you.
It happens in our life. I would say, like, the majority of people say that. You know, the reason why on the real estate side, like for purchasing, the reason why they don't own real estate is because it became too unaffordable.
Yeah.
Which,
That's a common one.
you know, it might be, you know, it is true that real estate, you know, we have in the last decade have seen an incredible, especially in the Greater Toronto area, where we operate in, a greater pace of appreciation value-wise. And then you couple that with how much higher interest rates are at this given time in 2024. But that's not, that if you just think that, you will always be where you are.
Yeah.
5 years, I've noticed, as I'm getting a little bit older, goes by very quickly. And if you don't hold yourself accountable and then think of the solutions, you will never get to where you want to be. You will be in the same place, which is fine, but then you're going to constantly be blaming other things. Oh, you know, I don't have these things because I don't make this amount of money. It's like, well, like, okay, you're right, but let's find solutions to this now.
Yeah.
And then we're doing, like, all three of us actually with Laura, we're doing Jack Canfield's book, The Success Principles.
Yes.
And then the very first chapter speaks about accountability and holding yourself accountable. And it's very important. And I didn't realize, like, because I've been doing this now for 11 years. I've worked with Jazz for 11 years now. And at the very beginning, something happened on the phone. I was going outbound. Something happened on the phone. I was like, you know, like this person said this, and they weren't understanding what I was saying. He's like, no. It's always your fault. Like, it's always our fault.
Yeah.
It is always our fault. The sooner you realize that your reaction to the environment created that outcome, which is what they speak about in the first chapter, R plus E equals O, which is reaction plus environment equals outcome.
Yeah.
The minute that you realize that, you know what, this is my fault, is the instant you will try to then find solutions to the problem. And that's such a good, that is such a good way of thinking, and it's something I try to think every single time, even at home, when I'm with family, when I'm driving, and I notice I react certain ways, like, whoa, okay, I reacted that way, it's my fault. I gotta just take a breath, and then let's just figure out some solutions. And I also think in regards to, Tilly, going back to some of these common, you know, buckets of challenges that realtors and mortgage brokers have in their business, I always find what they say instantly, like example, like the things that they want to improve in their business are things that they think will make their business easier. And it's not always what you need to change. Like, for example, a very common thing I hear people saying they have a challenge with is their systems. Yeah. You know, they don't have automation set up in their CRM. But the CRM is supposed to be used as a tool while you're prospecting.
Yeah.
And you can't just rely on outbound emails to generate enough traffic for you to go and do your job. It won't happen, especially in today's market. The deals will not come to you. We have to go outbound and create these opportunities and these value-added propositions for insiders and our prospective clients.
Very true.
Sorry, circling back to what you were saying, it's like, oh, it's not easy. I think what a lot of people get confused or mix up is what is easy is not simple. Right? Because, like, we're like, oh, it's so simple. Oh, it's so easy. Like, those terms are not interchangeable. Actually, I just did a video on it with Wei a few weeks ago, in the sense that, you know, I want you to think of, like, something as, like, simple instructions. Like, the idea is simple. 1 + 2 = 3. Like, you know, if it's raining outside and I put on my rain jacket, I will not get rained on. I'm still going to be cold. You know what I mean? Like there are simple, like easy to see, simple and easy. I'm already interchanging it. But just because something is simple in a concept does not make it easy. Working out, for instance, prospecting. Let's use prospecting, right? The idea is very simple. I have to have a list, just pick it, just call someone.
Yeah, it's
but it's not easy. And it's like, that's where people are like, oh, it's simple, but it's not easy. It's like, no, that's the one you have to work on. Like, that's where it's like, yeah, what am I working towards? Like, what's my drive here? And it's like, once you kind of understand and like accept that, that's half the battle.
And it's funny now that you're thinking about it. I was thinking about, you know, those easy solutions that people want in their business. Yeah. And only if you have a very solid foundation, like you're prospecting, it's consistent, you're going outbound, you have brand recognition with the names inside of your database as well, you're consistently have a really good outreach. Yeah. Only then you can try to make some of these systems more efficient and quote unquote easier. Yep. And the funny thing is that people want easy to make more money, but the reality is, from what I've seen, especially, you know, with Jazz and REC Canada, just being inside of it for so long, is that easy actually costs money. Yeah. Easy costs money. Like, for example, Jazz couldn't consistently do these outbound calls by himself because of the scale of the database. So what did we do? We hired someone like me, right? And now Christiane. Yeah. And that is easier, I guess, in regards to that part of the business for Jazz's mind, even though there's other work involved now and it's just different. But there's a cost to it. And people, especially if they don't understand that when they become a realtor or a mortgage broker, they are a business now. Yeah. That you need to be efficient, but you need to do simple. And only then, when you create the work and create this ecosystem, then you can create a little bit easier. And I've never thought about that before, and that's why I love these roundtables, because it's a good way to you verbalizing that, and for me just to put those connections and those pieces together. Yeah, that's a new point. That's important. And talking about now Christiane's role in the organization, because Christiane, she goes outbound. Her job is to consistently go outbound every single day and do what we call general follow-up calls. Christiane, in regards to the general follow-up calls, what are those wins that we're trying to get to on the call every single time?
So obviously the first win would probably be to book an appointment. At least have like a general book an appointment for them to, or like a REAP, like that we discussed about. I'm assuming
real estate action plan for those that are unaware.
Okay, yeah, exactly. I was like, are they aware yet? No. But you want to book an appointment. And if some people are just not interested in an appointment at the time, I think that events are a really good thing to have to keep following up. Like, obviously, if we're having an event coming up, you would just want to invite them to the event just so you can sort of warm them up a little bit, at least in person. Or even if it's a webinar, just so you're able to connect and have like another point of something to talk to them about. And then concierge division is, I'm assuming, something that a lot of people also implement in their business as well.
They actually don't. So the real estate concierge division is something that like we created in REC Canada for everyone listening. We created that probably about 4 years ago, and a lot of realtors do it, but they haven't been able to position it as a value-added proposition to their insiders, or value-added service to their insiders or their prospective clients. And essentially what the concierge division is we are the connectors of sorts for whatever challenge you have, or the prospective client has in their real estate portfolio. If they need a local contractor, cleaner, mortgage broker across the country, Christiane, myself, our team, we go and connect our client to these service providers. And that's right. For the person that you're speaking to outbound on the phone call, when we speak about that is a way for us to provide value on the call.
They're like, oh, I really like you. Like, it's surprisingly shocking, the responses that I get. They're like, oh my God, I actually needed somebody for like a cleaner I had in like a cabin that they have or whatever. And I'm just like,
people push off work. Yeah. All the time. And that includes real estate investors.
Very true. Everybody does.
And if I might add a tip, because sometimes when we talk about concierge, adding more names into the database, Tilly, how do I get more names into the database? That's another big bucket. that I hear about.
Yeah.
And I say something as simple as, yes, concierge. It's like, do you have a plumber? Do you have this? And I'm like, but let's take it outside of just professional services. I'm
They
like,
might need it themselves
but like,
too, yeah.
but imagine if you're relocating. So let's say, you know, I live out in Durham and I'm relocating out to Kitchener. All right, I'm gonna need a hairstylist.
Yeah, a whole new team.
I'm gonna need a nail tech. I'm gonna maybe need a pediatrician. A vet, you know what I mean? You're like every single person that you might potentially need as a service.
Yeah.
Not even just real estate bound. And I'm like, just think about that. They're like, oh, and it's like, yes, oh, broaden your horizons. It's like there's anyone and everyone can be in, what does Jazz say when they're over 18 with a heartbeat? They have to be in the database?
Yeah.
That's funny. Jazz also has ex-girlfriends in his database. I'm like, no, you don't. He's like, hold up. And he like rolls it up and he's just like, I can call her right now. And I'm like, that's sick.
She might need a realtor.
She might need a realtor. Or she might be
she
like,
might
you
need
know what?
somewhere
You
to
broke
move.
my heart 20 years ago. I hate you so much. What's the name of that good nail tech though? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like literally. No, that's so true. But also I was thinking about a point that you guys brought up earlier. Just slipped my mind. It was really good about like keeping a positive mindset as well. Oh yeah, I just feel like also just keeping in mind that like having like you could have that one positive call of the day and it just really makes your day and you're just like it just keeps you positive for the rest of the day. And I just feel like if you're keeping that towards your goal, like you never know what the outcome could be. Like I literally had the funniest call this morning. It was like
I was just about to say,
it
talk
was
about
like-
the comedian.
I was
No,
just- I was
it
just, like,
so
listening
odd.
to it.
Yeah, no, Tyler was looking at me, and even the guy on the phone was like, your coworker's probably looking at you like, why are you cracking up? And I was like,
Yeah.
honestly, I'm actually slightly embarrassed. But yeah, he was just talking for a long time, and it was just nice because you get to, I actually personally like like being the first touch to people, because it's like, you're meeting a new person. Like sometimes people don't like colder leads or like, you know what I mean? But I think that it's fun because they're just a new person that has no idea what you're going to provide with them. So it's like, I feel like keeping that mindset, and yeah, obviously you want to talk to people that know you and love you as well too. But it's like, you could talk to somebody and they just get to know you and they're like, wow, I actually really like you. I really like your vibe. Like that's your lead right there. You just have to just show your personality through it.
Right, because strangers are just friends you haven't met yet.
Exactly. And I feel like you don't have to have a negative mindset on it.
Absolutely not.
But the only reason why one of the reasons why you're able to navigate that very well, though, Christiane, is because you have the direction in the outbound call.
Yeah.
Right?
True.
It's not like you're just saying, hey, do you want to go buy or sell?
Yeah, that's true. You
And-
gotta have something to give them.
Well, no, you're the hierarchy of wins. You're providing value every single time.
Exactly, yeah.
Like you don't. I hear it. You don't leave the call without providing some sort of value.
Yeah, social media is a really good one.
Yeah,
I always plug the social media at the end. I'm like, hey, I'll send you a text message of the social media as well as and I'll send you an email as well, just so you have our email on file. And I'll just send them a general email of who we are, and just now they have our email like on file. So if they're like, oh my god, who should I email? They'll literally find it in their email instead of having to go online and Google it. Just make everything easier for the people, because I feel like they appreciate that.
You know, that kind of reminds me of a quote about the difference between involvement and commitment, right? So what is the quote? Oh, involvement and commitment is like an eggs and bacon breakfast. The eggs were involved, the bacon was committed. Or I should say the chicken was involved, the pig was
committed. Yeah.
The pig was committed. Sort of like, no, but if you think about it, like coming down to like our CRMs and our systems and like the accountability, it's like, okay, I can be involved by setting up those automated emails and never picking up the phone.
Yeah.
Or it can be committed and picking up the phone. And even though people might be like, I hate you, who are you? Why are you
remove them.
calling them? You can remove them.
Yeah,
or they'll be
it
like,
hurts.
oh, hey. Oh, yeah, Tyler, I just saw your email last week about, you know, I'll be honest, I deleted it, but I saw the email.
Yeah.
You're like, that's why we send the emails. Like, we know not everyone opens up the emails. I don't always open up the
It's
emails.
not
True.
We're not here, and that's why you gotta throw everything on marketing. Like you gotta do emails, you have to do content, you have to do events, you have to do content on different platforms.
Because you never know what's going to
Texting,
resonate.
Yeah.
calls.
You never know what's going to resonate.
But it's not
Algorithms
our
are predictable.
job. It's not our job to tell them to watch,
No.
to make sure they're seeing this.
No. Yeah.
That's not it. It's our job is to provide it on all platforms, like our brand or our value that we're providing to people. And it's not just for your for sales and solds.
Oh, God.
It's more than
Don't
that.
do it.
It's
First they do that.
it's for example, and I was gonna ask you this question. That's what I thought about
That
in
reminds
regards
me
to
too.
content. it's, for example, once you hear, because we always ask questions when we're on outbound calls.
Yeah.
It's like, for example, hearing common challenges people are going through.
Yeah.
And then finding a solution to it.
Yeah.
So that could be a content piece.
Yeah.
Right? And that is actually something that will leave potentially an impactful impression on someone.
It's literally so easy to navigate. Like, I feel like nobody knows, but I actually have no experience in real estate as well.
Yeah.
Like, I literally knew
I'm not
nothing.
licensed.
Yeah, no, I knew nothing when I started working about real estate. It's like, I remember when I was like sitting there and like kind of hearing everyone's calls, and they were like, oh my God, the variable rates just dropped. I'm like, what's that? Like,
You're
I
like,
literally was like, what is that? And I
yes.
had to have someone from the immersion program actually to break it down to me. And I was like, if I could find a way to navigate the conversation on a phone and I know nothing, like, I'm 1,000% sure someone that knows like the lick of information about real estate can even sell the house on the phone. Like, you just have to know how to navigate a conversation on the phone. Not always, but as long as you know how you're like able to get some information and sort of just like navigate the question, ask open-ended questions, which I spoke about yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday.
Yeah. You did.
Or Wednesday, yeah.
I'm going to watch the recording. How'd you find it?
I actually found it really fun. It was it was really fun. And it was nice it helps you keep yourself accountable too. Because once you're going through this information and you're hearing yourself and you're even just listening to it, it's just like, you know what, like, this makes me want to implement more strategies into what I'm doing.
I used to get so nervous when I did webinars. And for everyone listening and watching us, Christiane leaded a webinar yesterday and spoke about outbound calls and how to provide value to whoever you're speaking with.
Yeah.
And I always find that I get nervous before, and I want to ask how you guys feel, but I always find that I get nervous before we start filming. Like even here, like sitting, like, my heart races a little bit, and I actually kind of chase that feeling. I love it, but it's a nervousness.
Adrenaline junkie over here.
They're close, right? Adrenaline and anxiety
Yep.
are very close to each other in feelings, I find. But until we start the camera, until we start filming, I forget about all that, and I'm just present.
Yeah,
that's very good.
How do you guys feel
Good question.
when we start to film content and we start to speak?
Well, it's like my previous industry to real estate, and we lightly touched on it in our first episode. I worked in tax and accounting, and I don't know shit about tax and accounting. In the sense that I'm not an accountant, and obviously I was trying to, like, my role was in sales, and then I transitioned into training. And one of the products we trained on was a tax research platform. So, like, when you're in like college or university and you have those articling platforms, you're trying to find like specific articles written by this and la. So it's like a database where like real estate lawyers and estate judges and all of that, they have access to it where they can like research cases and stuff like that. It's like the level of anxiety of what I had to go through trying to train someone who's like right up here and I'm like below ground level. I had scripts. I never turned on my camera. But after like a first few times, you're like, they're just here to learn.
Yeah.
And maybe I can just be my weird ass self and we'll get through it. And usually at the end of all these calls, they're like, that was the best training I ever had. Thank God you're so much fun, because all the other people I ever had prior to you were boring as shit. And I'm like, okay, maybe there's something to this.
It's all about the personality.
And it's just letting yourself shine through and like allowing yourself to be stupid. Yeah. That's the hardest thing, because we're like, no, we have to be professional. Like, it has to be perfect.
Really professional. Like, getting into like business really, and like actually coming into like, I was like, on my first day I was like, oh God, I gotta be so professional. Like, I gotta be head to toe in a specific outfit. But you're gonna I realize like nothing's really that ever that professional.
We're all human.
Yeah.
And especially on the residential side of real estate, we are working with the everyday person.
Yeah.
And I went to a showing, and someone didn't want to work with me because I wore like Sperry's without shoes on, or without socks on. Sorry, they thought that was weird because I didn't wear socks, which I get because now I do wear socks with my Sperry's. I get what they said, but they actually didn't want to work with me.
That's crazy.
I always just live this way that if someone doesn't like me for the way that I act or the way that I dress, I don't really want to work with them anyways. We have an abundance mindset.
Oh, yeah.
And then that's it, right? And also, I'm sure the reason why I got more comfortable And the reason why I got more comfortable with the phone calls like you, and as well as content, consistency and reps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The more effort we put into it and the more times we do it, the better we feel and the better we are.
100%. And it's just like, I was actually just telling Christiane yesterday a story. I did, like every year I had to do like a national training for BDO, one of the big accounting firms here in Canada. And I think it was in the front of like 200 or 300 like articling students and like top professionals. You know, I'm on camera. I'm being streamed across Canada. I even think it was at like the Weston Down Harbourfront, like the one on Queen's
nice.
Quay.
Yeah.
So super fancy.
Right by the Euro spot.
Oh my gosh, everyone's wearing
Euro
suits
spot.
and
I've
looking
been there.
good. And I just had a full-on brain freeze. Like I was searching something with the word conference in it. Conference. And I'm like trying to type it out. And I'm like, oh my, I can't spell conference. And like the panic, because like obviously it's like dead silent. Everyone's like watching the screen and then watching me. They're like, what's happening? And I'm like, I literally said out loud, I'm like, I have a brain fart and I forgot how to spell conference. And everyone chuckled. I'm like, no, I forgot how to spell conference. Someone help me. And like the senior training manager, she's like, CON. And I'm like, all right, we're going.
Yeah, I was like,
and then of
ASMR.
course, like everyone sort of chuckles after that. And like my first thought is like, oh my gosh, people probably think I'm like the stupidest person right now. Like, why are we listening to her if she can't even spell conference? But then how many times like have you found yourself with like a brain fart and you're like, I am smart. It's not all lumps and bumps and smooth all over up in there. I
No,
got
literally.
some knowledge.
Silence is okay. Silence is okay when we're on calls, when we're trying to convert leads, when we're on content. Even here, like if someone were to rewind it, and please don't, but if someone were to rewind it and just checked all the times we fumbled through,
Yeah.
like it just happens. We are human, and I think as sales professionals, the humanizing factor and the faster that we can establish that we're real people and we just want to help is the faster we're able to build these impactful relationships with people.
That actually reminds me of a point that you brought. Like, every time I'm on the phone with someone, I remember, because Tyler always says, like, let the person speak. Like, let them answer the question. Because I feel like sometimes whenever we're, like, on the phone and you're, like, whatever you're doing your sales conversation and you're trying to talk to somebody, you always want to just fill in the gaps and make sure, like, maybe they're silent because they don't know any information, so you just keep talking. But it's like, maybe if you just sit there and give them a second and let them answer the question, then it like helps you flow the conversation and just keeps them engaged rather than just like, you know.
I do this.
That's really
I
good.
literally do this on the phone sometimes. Like I'm speaking to people, and the reason why I do it is that I already know when I ask a question sometimes, and I've shifted a lot this year, but previously, when I used to ask a question, I already knew the answer I wanted them to say. So I just try to get them to that answer. But recently what I do is when I ask, and good rule of thumb for everything we do in life is when you ask a question, especially sales professionals, when we ask a question, you say nothing. You say nothing until the answer is said by the other person. And what I do to help me stop talking literally is this. I put my shirt up.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
I do it on camera. Like I'm on one-on-one. Sometimes I go like this. Like I just do. I don't talk, and it's a good way for me just to be present and just to listen. And we are starting to wrap up. But before we do, I just want to do just one more thing. And Christiane, I just wanted to give everyone just a live example of the script we use for outbound calls. And I know I'm putting you on the spot right now. And before we do that, for everyone who wants a copy of our scripts, as well as a fantastic Realtor Sales Solutions course, go to ftguacademy.com/course. Download it. I think there's about 13 modules we have there, jam-packed with videos, scripts, email templates. There's a lot there, and it's free. We used to charge about $1,000 for it, and now we offer it out for free because we put our money where our mouths are. As a training academy, we give the best stuff out for free because we want to provide you that value. Only then will you listen to what we have to say in regards to building onto the foundation.
I think these modules like taught me how to do what I do. Literally.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they're good.
Yeah, I was like, I had nothing when I was.
I spent a lot of time on it. Like,
Yeah.
It was very well produced.
Yeah.
I
Very
enjoyed
well.
them.
Yeah.
I learned a lot from it too.
Thoroughly explained, and like if you can't explain it to a 5-year-old, like you don't know what you're talking about. I feel like
That's
they
the sauce
explain
right
it
there.
super simply.
That's a sauce.
I stole this from you. I stole that line from you guys.
If you
guys
can't
say it all the
explain it
time.
to a 5-year-old, then
Yeah.
you don't know it yourself.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
for everyone again, FTGU Academy.com/course. And Christiane, why don't maybe Tilly be the person you're calling?
Be my phone.
And let's go through just a general follow-up call.
Okay. General follow-up.
General follow-up.
Okay. Do I have any history on this person?
Great point. So
I love to look at this.
let me be the
history.
dungeon master of sorts for this call. So this specific person, her name is Tilly. She came in through a workshop, an event that we hosted 2 years ago. And she looks at her emails. And the last time we spoke to her was about a year ago. She hasn't picked up any of our calls. We know that we heard a dog last time that I spoke with her.
Okay.
I heard a dog barking.
Okay.
And I put that in the CRM.
Okay.
In the notes.
Okay. This is what I'll just usually say. I'm more like natural on the phone with it, and I kind of just go with the flow.
Yeah.
But I'll just like, Bing. Hi, is this Tilly?
Yeah. Who's this?
Hi, Tilly. This is Chrissy, and I'm calling from REC Canada. How are you doing?
Oh, the rec team. Yeah. Good.
Okay, I'm good to hear that you remember us. I love to hear a familiar or someone knows a familiar name. I wanted to just give you a quick call and just check in and see how everything's been, if you've been receiving our emails. I know you joined us at a workshop about 2 years ago, but I don't know if you joined us for any other events.
No, you know what? I had a kid 2 years ago. Things have been quite
Amazing.
hectic, and then we got a dog. So
Oh, with the dog. I remember
things
him.
have been wild. And
Ruff, ruff.
Quiet down, Sydney. I'm on the phone.
Sydney, is it?
I know. Yeah, Sydney. It's a golden retriever.
What a cutie.
I know. You know, I had one girl. I had to get a boy dog. Got to even things
course.
out. But yeah,
How
no,
awkward would
it's
that
like,
be?
oh god, you know what I'm saying?
I love that. So it sounds like you got a lot on your hands. But if you ever have some time, I wanted to just make sure that you're still receiving our emails. The email I have on file is tilly@iloveyou.com. Is that your email?
Yep.
Okay.
Please keep sending them.
Yes. Okay. I'm happy you're getting those. But I wanted to tell you, Tilly, I don't know if you're too sure about some of the services we provide at REC. I don't know if you recall them.
Yeah, something about like plumbers if I need them or
Yes.
anything. You know what I need?
Tilly, you're a good one.
I need someone to come clean my house. I am too damn tired.
Tilly, I'm on that. Where is it? Give me
I'm out here in Durham.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay,
So,
great. So perfect.
whenever you guys can send me over some cleaners, I can look at because I'm over trying to do this myself.
Tilly, we will get you that over in a second. I'll send you an email asking you some more information on that problem. But is this for one of your investment properties or for your primary resident?
Just primary. I got no money for investments yet.
Okay.
I'd like to, but you know.
never know. You never know. Maybe some
know.
equity, you know.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, if you are interested in discovering what options you do have out there, we like to give our clients something we call a real estate action plan or a wealth creation strategy call. And essentially what that is, Tilly, is where you sit down with our portfolio managers. And it's about like a 15 to 20 minute call, depending on how long it runs with you. And they ask you a couple of questions and see what type of opportunities you might be interested in, what you've always wanted to explore. And we'll sit down and we'll show you how we might be able to help. I do say might, as we can only help some, but we always have to try. And let's throw in a random date. Let's say Thursday next week. How does that sound for you?
Sure, let's do Thursday. Can we do in the afternoon around 3?
Thursday.
The child will be asleep.
Perfect. Thursday at 3 p.m. I'll set you up with one of our portfolio managers, and we'll send you that email in 90 seconds. Do you have any questions for me beforehand, though?
No, keep it up. Keep doing what you're doing.
Okay, great. Tilly, I'll follow up with you a couple of days before the call, and we're excited to talk to you then.
All right, bye. Thanks for the
Bye.
call.
Of course.
Click.
Well, that was great. Well,
Tilly
Tilly was the best
Tilly
call.
was too good. Yeah, usually I never get calls
Okay,
that
now
good.
let's do another one. Who the F is this?
Well, it's
exactly
like
how
so.
it goes.
It's always what Christiane did that was very important is when she spoke about those one-on-one appointments called the real estate action plan or the wealth creation. What do you call it? I love
wealth
that.
creation strategy.
Yeah,
call.
the wealth. The wealth.
I usually say one of them. I don't say both of them.
Yeah.
But I said that today.
That's
But
okay.
then when she spoke about it, she said two things that were really important. One, she said, "I'm not sure if we're going to be able to see if we might be able to help, because the reality is that we might not be able to help you, but this is a good way for us to understand what you're trying to accomplish."
Yeah.
And that might is really good because it inherently, that person who's listening feels like we're not selling to them, right? This is inherently like, oh, they don't even know if I can help. So their guard goes a little bit down, which is great in regards to creating that impactful, relationship and value. But then you also said, let's just throw a random day out. How does Tuesday at 3 p.m. sound? And that's good. You can also say when is the best time for us to have a quick 15, 20-minute call. Does Tuesday work or Wednesday work better for you?
Yeah, 32 dates is probably better.
When you're doing a type of ask, in general, like for any of your prospective clients, either to book an appointment or in the appointment when you're trying to have them make a decision, don't ask the yes or no questions. Like, don't ask, are you available for that type of wealth strategy session? Because people go through the path of least resistance. The answer is no. But what you said is, when is the best time for us to do this? Does Tuesday or Wednesday work better for you? Now they're picking. It's like Tuesday or Wednesday. It engages their mind a little bit. And then only then, when they truly think it's not right for them, they'll say no, which is fine. We're not here to convince everyone, nor can we work with everyone anyways. But it's just a good strategy. I love it. You did a great job.
Usually when you throw in a say, like, when's the best time for us to meet on a date? Usually people are like, well, Tuesday doesn't work for me, or Wednesday. Like, how about Friday? Like, one of the days usually work for them, because that means they're interested.
Yeah.
Like, So.
Yeah. Or they're like, I'm not interested. You're like, cool. Can we just?
They'll usually cut you off midway through your conversation. Yeah. They'll be like, I'm not buying anything right now.
You're like, that's okay.
You don't have to buy anything right now.
Let's just stay connected.
Actually, I always say, whenever they say, I'm actually not buying right now, I'm like, well, that's actually fine. You don't have to be buying right now. Well, except we're essentially just helping you build a plan for your future and just kind of seeing what you might be interested in. And that's kind of the best part of the call.
I joke about it sometimes. Sometimes when someone's like, oh, no, I don't want to buy anything. I was like, I don't know how I'm going to sell this $3 million condo now. And I was like, no, I'm just playing. I'm not even here to sell you anything. Honestly, the purpose of my call today, first, just to make sure you're getting our emails. As well, just so that we're connected.
Yeah.
Even though you're not actively looking for something, would you get value from staying informed and educated?
Who doesn't
on
want
the current state of the market?
Everybody wants education.
Or the best is like, do you like brunch?
Yeah.
Do you like food?
Do you like delicious food?
Do you eat every day?
Do you eat?
Do you have to eat?
They usually say out of
that. Do you even eat, bro?
Yeah.
Do you even eat?
Our food.
Do you need sustenance? Yeah. And it's just like, honestly, everyone loves like a good breakfast.
Yeah.
And you're like, just come for breakfast and just learn. You're like, this food has to get eaten anyways.
And
just
they
sit
end up
down.
loving the presentation. Everyone stays. And
That's the thing, because it's like, it's always like this like misconception that it's like, it's like, it's like the timeshare meetings.
Yeah.
You know, whenever they're like, oh, it's a free lunch, but then we're going to rope you in for 30 years, like they did to my parents in the early
really
80s.
Good. They're really good.
Come on, new immigrants to Canada, they're like, we get all of this, and it's like, oh yeah, they got roped in quick.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, because it's like everyone's scared that it's like a scam or a Ponzi scheme or something, and you're like, I just want to feed you and educate you.
Yeah,
that's it.
The ones that host events that feel like that are ones that are very pushy in trying to ask for a sale. You don't ask for sales. You don't. You go and create opportunities for people. And there's a fine line. And usually, if you just ask purposeful questions, usually you'll be on the latter side, which is you're creating opportunities.
Yeah, that's it.
That's the goal.
That was fun.
Christiane,
thank you for joining us today.
I had a really great time, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
We'll have you soon, and we can do a live call potentially so people can actually hear it.
That would be fun.
That'd be good.
Yeah, we should do that.
I'd be so
100%.
down.
Awesome. Till the next one.
Bye, guys.